Hey everyone, Mah-Dry-Bread here. Pokemon White 2 with only one Clink was a hard run with a fun Pokemon, so let's follow that up with another really fun Pokemon. Today's the day that we figure out, would I be able to beat Pokemon X with a team of only one Maractus? Now you may have already seen me use Maractus in Gen 5, but if you haven't already, then here's the rundown. Our stats are better than that of most solo Pokemon that I use. It's really not that bad. We're a solo grass type, so we have some common weaknesses, but stats-wise, we've got something that we can work with here. By level up, we learn a lot of really interesting moves too. Some of this is new, but a lot of this was already in Gen 5. Giga Drain, Petal Dance, Growth, and Peck are all still moves that I'm very interested in, although I could see us using stuff like Needle Arm or Pin Missile until we have our final moveset. By TM, the list is a little bit limited, but I'm absolutely taking Aerial Ace. I think going with the same moveset as last time is the right move. Giga Drain, Petal Dance, Aerial Ace, and Growth. We tank hits as we power up, heal back up with Giga Drain, and then sweep with Petal Dance. Like always, I'm writing the script as I go through with the challenge, so this part is being written before I've started. Everyone comment down below and guess if I can win or not. I figure that I can win, but I don't think I've done this generation with a grass type yet, so I'm excited to see what parts give us problems. Who knows, maybe we'll have an easy rock gym for once. I just hope that the Fire Elite 4 member doesn't end our run. Let's explain the rules. In combat, I can only use Maractus. I'll need other Pokemon to use HMs, but I won't be allowed to use any of those Pokemon in battle. No glitches or exploits, no items in battle, only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of combat are allowed. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more. Let's do this. So, right off the bat, I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Chespin with Maractus so that we can do the whole run with it. I name him Cacturn, like last time. We're modest to the top, and I wasn't sure how I felt about it at first, since there's an attack drop, and we are actually using both attack and special attack, but I think it'll be fine. We get so much more use out of Giga Drain and Petal Dance than we do Peck and Aerial Ace anyway. I'll roll with it. So we're doing our early game travel, and I actually don't know how well this is gonna go. The first gym is the Bug Gym, and although it sounds like it'll be easy, it actually has given me some minor issues before. I think this might actually be the hardest Bug Gym fight we've ever had in X, though, because despite having a very strong Pokemon for this early in the game, we're weak to Bug type. We do have Peck, so we have a decent move, but moves like Infestation can probably make us faint until we've grinded a bit, so I plan on fighting a lot of wild Pokemon on my way to the first gym. I figure the Sycamore fight after that won't be too bad though. I usually get a little worried about it because of type coverage, but I think the Regigigas run was the only one where it actually gave me any issues, weirdly enough. Well, I instantly regret the 20 minutes or so I spent grinding for this Bug Gym. They didn't even use any bug moves. They were using stuff like Water Sport, Quick Attack, and Tackle. They didn't even try to win. Naturally, we were too strong for Sycamore's team. Even with Charmander using Ember, our Mega Drain was keeping us incredibly healthy. I don't think we're going to be able to get away with just powering through fire types without growth later in the run, so let's enjoy it while we still can. Alright, we're on the very, very long walk to the Rock Gym now. Look, I know we're a grass type and we should have the advantage, but I've learned my lesson. This Rock Gym is always difficult. It's two fossil Pokemon, of course it's gonna be hard. One's Ice type too, so we don't even have the type advantage. And because it's his first Pokemon, we probably can't just use Growth a bunch. I'm gonna fight everything I possibly can on my way there because I know how hard that fight is gonna be, and grinding outside of the gym is pretty slow. Wish me luck, cause I'm obviously gonna need it. But on our way there, I took the Jaw Fossil. I knew that if I didn't say what I took, you'd all ask. Actually, now that I think about it, everyone ask anyway. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Alright, so right away we got one growth in, but we got paralyzed, so I was worried that this could be a train wreck. Then we get hit with Takedown and nearly faint in one hit. Thankfully, Giga Drain was enough to take him down. Next is Tyrant, and we get crit with a Stomp, but we bypass both the Paralysis and the Flinch to one-shot him. That was a first try! That was awesome! Alright, we're on the road again, so the first thing I do is run and get the TM for Aerial Ace to replace Peck, then I start going to the next town. We have a rival fight, the Fighting Gym, the Rival again, and the Grass Gym. I don't really think the rival fights are going to be too bad, mostly because I think we'll have plenty of time to build up growth against Meowstic at the start, so I'll probably sweep them. The gyms, though, I'm not sure. I know the fighting gym leader has Hawlucha, so we have to deal with a flying type, and the grass gym might be annoying just because Giga Drain isn't going to work very well. Growth and Aerial Ace might make it easy, but if we get paralyzed or put to sleep, then I could see it being pretty hard. Let's go find out. So first is the rival fight, and this is actually incredibly close. I kept using Growth to get as strong as I could before using Giga Drain, but it wasn't enough to one-shot most of her team, and we were still taking huge hits. There were several moments where we were just a few points of damage away from fainting, and our Giga Drain just hardly kept us standing. Being slower is really costing us. At least I can get leftovers soon. That'll make it easier to build up with Growth. So I was kind of worried this might happen. At the fighting gym, we have to deal with Mindfu spamming Power-Up Punch. Because of that, we couldn't use Growth much, and Hawlucha is faster than us and can easily two-shot us. I could use an extra Growth, but then we don't even get a single hit in on Hawlucha. I'm actually going to have to grind for this fight for a little bit. I don't suspect I'm going to need to gain too many levels before I can win, though. So I started trying more at level 38 now that we have Petal Dance, but it still doesn't work. We're slower than Hawlucha, and we're still fainting in one flying body press. It's rough because I could survive a hit if we used one less growth, but then we can't get a one-shot, so that doesn't save us. I really think that I'm not too far off of winning, though. Maybe just 2 or 3 more levels, and I think I'll survive that body press with a sliver of health. Wow, I guess my 2 or 3 levels guess was right. Only 2 levels later and we survive the flying body press with literally just 1 point of health left, letting us sweep the entire rest of our team. I mean, it doesn't get any closer than that, right? Alright, the next rival fight was much easier now that we have leftovers. It was really easy to build up growths, then sweep our team. The grass gym right after took a few tries though. If we use growth at the start, then we end up going down to jump bluff using acrobatics too much. Now, I did end up winning just by not using growth, but it was still really close. We almost went down a few times, and the only reason we survived in the end is because we're still faster than Weepinbell, even after a speed drop. A few levels lower, and I don't think we would have won this fight. Alright, it's time to loop back to the center of the map, and that means we have the Electric Gym coming up. Emolga might make it difficult, but overall, I'm not actually that worried. Then we have a probably easy rival fight, followed by the Fairy Gym. I don't really know how that Fairy Gym is gonna go, though. It's not normally very hard, but I don't know the gym leader's moveset very well, and it could end up taking me off guard with something. I don't think I'll have to grind for that fight, though, but it wouldn't shock me if it isn't a first try. That said, I still think the Electric Gym might be the hardest fight until we get to Lysandre, so let's go get that out of the way and see how it goes. So I was right to think that the Emolga could hit us pretty hard, but it really didn't matter. Giga Drain heals us by so much that as soon as we got to the rest of his team, it was pretty easy. Now, the next rival fight was actually a lot harder than the previous one. Delphox can nearly one-shot us, so what I have to do is use growth over and over until I know that light screen will wear off next turn, and then pick that turn to Giga Drain Meowstic. We'll still get hit by Delphox, but with light screen down, we're just strong enough to one-shot her with Petal Dance, and then of course Absol gets taken out as well. This was another situation where I think being just a few levels lower would have made us lose. It's not an easy fight, this took several tries. And last is the Fairy Gym, but because Mawile is mostly just buffing defense, we could easily max out our growth and sweep them. You'd think that by this far into the series, the AI would have the good sense to realize they're not doing enough damage and they should switch Pokemon, but apparently not. It's funny, they do that in some of the previous games once in a blue moon. Even in Gen 3 they'll sometimes do that. But maybe it figured that Crunch really was strong enough to stay in. Alright, it's time for things to get a lot harder. We're not far away from the Lysandre fights, and those are usually pretty tough. On our way there, we have to do another rival fight, as well as the Psychic Gym. I'm not really worried about the Psychic Gym, it's not usually too bad, but the rival fight has me worried for sure. It took several tries for me to win last time. That might happen again this time. Plus, there's Lysandre, and he's rarely easy. The first time we fight him might not be horrible, but the second and third fights right after almost for sure will be. It's literally 3 Lysandre fights, all about 10 minutes apart from each other, so I won't have much of a chance to level up between them beyond fighting the handful of required trainers that are in the way. Between that, and an ice gym after, and the Elite Four beyond that, I think the rest of this run might be pretty hard. So right away, I failed this rival fight 5 times. It wasn't light screen this time. The new problem is that Meowstic uses Shadow Ball or Psychic nearly every turn, so we often get special defense drops. Sometimes she uses Disarming Voice, and that's way weaker, so I can get more growths in, but it's really random. Plus, she's faster, so it's easy to accidentally faint when trying to get too many growths in. Eventually, I got no special defense drop, but Delphox beats us easily, so I have to try and get stronger before I can win this fight. Man, I'm not looking forward to that Victory Road rival fight later on. So after failing a bunch at level 62 thanks to Hail, it stopped hailing, and then we had this weirdly lucky run where Meowstic used Disarming Voice a lot more often than usual. Thanks to that, we got all 6 growths in. We still took a lot of damage, and we're kind of slow, but we were sweeping with Giga Drain, and that kept us healthy. I hate how random that Meowstic fight is. I think this is the first run where Meowstic is a serious problem. Now the Psychic Gym right after took some trial and error. The Sigalith at the start does tons of damage with Air Slash, and doesn't always use that light screen, so I had to test a bit and see how many growths I could get in and survive. We were just hardly strong enough to hit 2 Giga Drains for a knockout, and I probably would still have fainted between our low health and the light screen, but she sent out a Slowking next, so of course, we one-shot the water type to heal back up. She ended up being really easy after Sigalith fainted. Alright, this is the first Lysandre fight. We were able to get a couple of growths in and take out Mindfu easily, but it's using Acrobatics and High Jump Kick, so we have to take it out fast. After that is Pyroar though, and it easily Fire Blasts us for a one-shot. Well, it was faster, and there's no way we're one-shotting it, so I think we have to level up more. Hey, at least my effort values are long since maxed out. Alright, well, this was surprising. I kept losing at level 70 because I would get 3 growths in, get to Pyroar with about half health, then go down to Fire Blast. But on this try, where I only got 2 growths in, the extra health was just hardly enough to survive Fire Blast, and Pyroar was a one-shot with Giga Drain, somehow. I did not see that coming at all, but we had an easy time with Lysandre after that. How do you think the second fight's gonna go? Alright, I didn't see this coming either. The next Lysandre fight was way easier. I know I leveled up a few times off some of the trainers on the way, but he evolved 2 Pokemon and yet did worse than before. Only 1 growth, and we one-shot Pyroar with Giga Drain. Like, I know it only has a 66 for its base special defense, but it's crazy how quickly we're taking it down. Alright, this is nuts. I get to the last Lysandre fight, and yet again, it finds a way to be even easier than the last time. This time, Mienshao never even attacks us. We just get 1 growth and sweep him. Since when is Lysandre this easy? Alright, that was some unexpectedly smooth sailing, but I don't think it's gonna last much longer. Normally I don't have issues with the Ice Gym in this game, but this is a run with a Grass-type Pokemon, so it might actually be pretty difficult. I don't think that Sycamore or our friends are gonna be that hard on our way to the Ice Gym, but the Ice Gym itself isn't gonna be easy. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get away with getting many growths in at the start, but I guess we'll find out when we get there. It's times like this that I wish I could have something like Sleep Powder so I could build up more growths, but I guess it would just make us too strong. So Sycamore was crazy easy. He opened the fight with a Venusaur, and it really cannot do anything at all to us, so I got 6 growths in and then swept his team. The friends after were pretty hard though. Shauna took tons of tries and even a few level ups because Delcatty spams Charm and Play Rough, both moves that lower attack. And we need our attack to be high because Goodra right after absorbs grass moves and uses Sludge Wave every turn. It took a ton of tries before we had this one where we got back up to neutral attack, and it was just enough to beat Goodra as long as we didn't get poisoned. And on this try, we didn't. Greninja at the end was of course easy. Tierno's next, and he's also a problem thanks to his Talonflame spamming the super strong acrobatics, and even burning us on some tries, but we ended up winning after a few tries just by using Giga Drain a ton. Because all these fights are in a row though, I had to do the first fight so many more times. Last is Trevor, who was actually the easiest just because he couldn't handle grass types very well. I always get a little bit worried about these fights just because you can't heal between the first two. I think this upcoming ice gym is going to be a real problem, though. Man, I gotta learn my lesson already about not worrying about any ice gym that isn't platinum. We used growth once, had some close calls with Abomasnow, and then swept the rest of his team with Giga Drain. What is it with ice gyms almost always being easy, even when they're late game gyms? Alright, we're in Victory Road, and I'm worried about the entire rest of the run. Other than the Water Trainer in the Elite Four, everything coming up looks brutal. A rival fight that's always hard, then the Elite Four with Dragon, Steel, and Fire Trainers. The Dragon and Steel ones will probably be pretty hard, but you know the Fire one is going to be a brick wall. If there's anything that we straight up lose the run to, it's going to be that fight. It wouldn't surprise me if we had to get to level 100 or close to it before we could win that one. But I do think that if we can win the Malva fight in the Elite Four, then we can win the whole run. I don't think the Pokemon Champion is going to be as hard. Let's get the rival out of the way first and see what level we end up at by the time that we get to the Elite Four. So when I first got to the rival, I just kept failing over and over. There's a lot of randomness in what Meowstic does like usual, but even on my best runs, I kept leaving a bunch of her team with a sliver of health. So I go back in and try a few more growths, but then the low health would make me end up fainting. I ended up having to come back a few levels later, and now because of the one-shots, we had a pretty easy time. I don't like how higher level is just to get this far though. I'm pretty worried about the Elite Four. Now that we're the Elite Four, let's take a look at our stats. I'm not really sure how I feel about my chances. Our special attack is amazing, but grass really isn't the type you want to be in this Elite Four. The water one should be easy, but the entire steel team resists all of our moves, and the fire team is probably going to totally overpower us. Maybe at level 100 with a few growths we can brute force it, but I'm really not sure. Make your final guesses on if we can win this or not. Let's do this. First is Water Trainer Cybold. He was just an easy sweep with Giga Drain and Petal Dance. Of course the Water Trainer was going to be easy. Second is Dragon Trainer Drasna. I took 2 tries at this right away, but even with some growths, Giga Drain was doing almost nothing. Aerial Ace got our first Pokemon kinda close to fainting, but it was just too tanky and we couldn't handle the Sludge Bombs. I think I could knock it out after a few levels though. I'm gonna do that. So I come back at level 90, and after an insane 8 tries in a row where we got poisoned, we had this one where we didn't and got the knockout, but then Noivern is next and we do almost no damage then go down. I'm totally not beating this Elite Four, am I? So I failed a ton at level 95, then decided to just go up to level 100, but we're failing the exact same way every single time. Yeah, I know I got crit by Air Slash in this footage, but it's the first time where I didn't get poisoned in half an hour, and I don't think things would have gone any different without the crit. We never did any serious damage to Noivern. Even if I crit Petal Dance, it wouldn't be enough to take out Noivern. I don't think it's possible to win this. Okay, well there's no harm in trying the other Elite Four members and just seeing what happens, right? Third is Steel Trainer Wickstrom. This was actually incredibly easy because his first Pokemon did almost no damage to us, so I just built up a ton of growth and swept him. Here I was, worried about the fight when the real threat ended up being Drasna. Fourth is Fire Trainer Malva. Somehow, and this blew my mind, Malva was really easy. Her first Pokemon didn't hurt us too badly, and our Giga Drains were still healing us for a lot, so we could actually survive what they were throwing at us. I was worried about this fight like the whole game, and it ended up being easy. It's a shame that I can't think of any way to beat Drasna, because I bet we could beat the champion if we could just get that far. That was really fun though. I'm a little disappointed to fail the run so deep in, but hey, at least I got one fight away from the ending, and it was an incredibly decisive loss, so at least I didn't need to try for hours clinging to hope for a win. I put about an hour into that fight, and it was obvious I couldn't do it. I mean, Noivern is a beast. I really hope you guys like that run. The next Pokemon Challenge should be up next week on Saturday, like usual, with Pokemon Fire Red with 1 ball toy. As always, I'm looking at your suggestions in the comments, in the challenge request section of my Discord channel, and on Twitter. Subscribe, ring the bell, stay tuned. Outro time. I can't do a long one today. Disappointing, I know. Some of you tell me that these outros are legitimately your favorite part of the video, which is crazy to me, but at the same time I kind of get it, because there's also a lot of you who say that the best part of my streams is the pre-stream, the part that doesn't get recorded and put on YouTube. All the just goofing around at the start. Speaking of streams, by the way, though, I just made a side channel that's gonna be for stream archives. Ooh, that way I don't need to gunk up the main channel with it all the time. I thought about it for a while, but I think I finally want to do this. All the future stream throughs are gonna go up on that channel instead. That way, when I do the Let's Plays again on the main channel, it's much easier at a glance to tell the difference between the Let's Plays and the stream throughs, because the stream throughs will be on the streaming channel, and the Let's Plays will be on this channel. I know some people probably just want me to only do Pokemon challenges and Bethesda challenges and whatever on this channel, but no. I've ran this channel full-time for 15 years. I've done thousands and thousands of Let's Play videos on this channel, tons and tons of streams, tons of vlogs, tons of all kinds of things, creepypasta readings back in the day, reviews, all kinds of things on this channel. It'd be real weird to go moving the Let's Plays, the core of the channel, off of the channel 15 years in. The stream recordings, though, I think that'll be fine. By the time this video goes up, that other channel will probably be public. There'll be a link to it, maybe in the description, almost definitely on my YouTube channel, and through the links link, you know, the link tree thing on my Twitter. That'll probably have it by then, but I don't know. At the time I'm doing this voiceover, I'm still getting all that set up. But I have to run because I am so busy right now. One, I have a little bit of a sore throat, so I should probably shut up and not wreck my throat more. But two, I'm recording this on the 4th of October 2025, and on the 6th of October, my girlfriend's moving in. So I am so busy over the next couple days just getting ready for her to move in and to help her move in and everything. So I'm going to be really busy with that stuff. So I'm going to just go ahead and do the $50 supporter shoutouts for Jacob Busby, Javid Khosrow, Dan Sorrell, and Grayson Fitz. Thank you so much, guys, for the continued support. I appreciate it. I'm going to just shout you guys out, and then I gotta get going because I gotta edit this thing so fast, and then I have like a million things to do around the house. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and until next time, have a nice day.